Hi there, this is the fourth and final video in this series of videos that I've been making for LinkedIn concerning how venture capital companies make their decisions. In previous videos, I touched upon the importance of strategy, the importance of portfolio construction, and also touched on some of the techniques that a lot of venture capital firms engage when they're doing a decision on an individual opportunity. I thought for the final video, I might touch upon some of the recommendations that we at Trinity Bridge would make to any potential investee company. There are three broad areas that I wanted to touch on, and I'll also try to illustrate the importance of those areas by example. So the first, if you forgive me, may sound a little trite or a little obvious, but I think it's very important when you engage with a VC company that you are honest about the business, about your business, and about the opportunity. Look, whenever anybody is making a presentation or a pitch, they'll try to present the business, the opportunity, and themselves in the best possible light. And of course, that's absolutely correct. You should be. But no business is perfect. And I think that's particularly so for a business that's at a relatively early stage of development that might be looking for expansion capital. Let me illustrate by example. It would be unusual, I would say, that a management team is fully developed or fully staffed for an early stage business. For example, you may well be missing an experienced CFO. And clearly that's a weakness that you need to be able to highlight to your investor. We would suggest to you that you could turn that into a positive, or at least certainly into a point of dialogue with the investor. I would be asking an investor, if you were missing a CFO, to explain to you how they helped their other portfolio companies build out their teams and identify the right staff that they needed to strengthen their organization. So number one is be honest. Number two is try to put yourself in the shoes of the investor. What's the biggest issue that they would have? Well, I'd suggest that it's probably uncertainty. They're making an estimate or a guess to see whether your business is going to be successful, and as a result, they're going to make superior returns on their investment. So do your best to reduce uncertainty for the decision-making process. Two areas which I think are worth highlighting, two examples. The first is your short-term revenue forecast. When you think about timing, if you have an initial discussion with a VC, it's very likely that the process is going to take maybe 6 months or maybe even longer. If during that period you've made a promise or you've made a prediction or a forecast on a revenue number, and 6 or 9 months later you're then telling that company that actually that number is incorrect, that you have to reduce it by say 20% or so, well, clearly that destroys your credibility. Your inability to forecast in the short term will certainly increase the uncertainty that they have about the success of your business. The obvious way to do that is to have a pipeline that clearly identifies out where the sources of increased revenue are going to come from, right down to having named clients, named opportunities, named individuals, so that you can be confident that that number is going to be delivered in the short term. The second area around uncertainty that's worth touching about is to have a very professional approach to the due diligence process. Make it easy for the investor to review the documentation. Have it stored on a shared drive in a logical fashion with clear folders, finance, strategy, governance documents, etc., clearly laid out. Make it easy for the individual VC to do their due diligence. Not only will it make the process a little bit easier on you, but it'll also give a very professional view or image of your organization. And it proves that the management team of that organization has taken the process seriously, and that's an indication that they take their business very seriously. So as I say, number two is put yourself in the investor's shoes and try to reduce uncertainty as best you can. The final area, I think, is to remember that it's a dialogue. It's a conversation with a potential investor. It's not just about writing the check. Investors like to be listened to. They like their views to be taken seriously. Ultimately, it's about building a partnership between you and the investor. And the easiest way to do that is to enter into a dialogue, to take their views seriously, to take what they're saying seriously, and on occasion, maybe even adapt your approach and strategy as a result of that. I think not only will it ensure that you probably have more chance of getting the money from them, but most importantly, it will mean that you have a strong partnership with them going forward so that you can both make a success of your business and of their investment. So if I may summarize the 3 things that you need to think about when you're starting to have a dialogue with an investor. 1 is be honest. Number 2 is put yourself in their shoes and try to reduce uncertainty. And number 3 is remember it's a dialogue. These people are experienced investors, and you should take what they say seriously and not just think about the check. I hope you've enjoyed these series of videos. Always happy to have a conversation with anybody who wants to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. Once again, thanks for watching and look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye-bye.